Thank heavens for healers, those altruistic players in multiplayer games who choose to play as a character built not for destruction, but for keeping their teammates alive. And what is their reward? Why, glory, the respect of your fellow players and basic human dignity, presumably.
Nature attend us!
Oh no, hang on, it's the literal opposite of those things. Anyone who plays as a healer will know the sting of being consistently underappreciated despite the essential work they do on the battlefield keeping every other fool on their feet. Here are just a few of the indignities that only those who play healer will understand.
Who wouldn't want to play as the healer, to give the gift of valuable HP, to feel the thrill of holding your fellow player's life and death in your hands? Well, as anyone who does regularly play as a healer-type character in a multiplayer game will tell you, the number of people who want to help you on your health-giving crusade is usually somewhere between 0 and all.
First blood.
Look at the loadout for your team before a match kicks off and you won't be surprised to see that you are the only one interested in playing the healer or medic class of character. And while other players may have considered choosing this most valuable archetype, in the end the lure of playing as the character that runs really fast and shoots people in the face with a big gun was simply too strong. So, as per usual, you are the only medic on the team, often in a game where a balanced squad is supposed to feature at least a couple of healers, and frankly some extra surgical hands would really be useful right now. I mean, even just an assistant to wipe our brow, because I'm not sure any of these patients are going to pull through. If you need more proof that nobody but you wants to heal, just look at the bonkers incentives a game like Overwatch dangles to try and convince you. Oh well, more loot boxes for us. A victory pose. Well, maybe one day that'll be useful, if we ever find a second person interested in healing this squad.
Let the waves of time.
When you've been hurt and need medical attention, the sensible reaction is to immediately try and find some kind of professional who can help you, preferably a medical one. Strangely, for some players in video games, this logical response seems to jump out the window and straight into the opposing team, who then proceeds to totally wreck them up while you, the healer, look on helplessly. See, most healing abilities in games have a limited range on them, even the fancy magical and techie ones that allow you to help people who aren't merely at arm's length. So when a teammate decides to run off directly into the most dangerous part of the map without any medical support, it can be a little frustrating for anyone whose job it is to make sure they don't die. Oh my goodness, why were you all the way over there? Instead of helping support the team on the objective, you usually end up running after all the damage dealers who perhaps think that it's your job to just follow them around rather than support the whole team. Even in non-class based games, more altruistic players will end up tailing teammates because OMG, please stand still for 5 seconds so I can stop all your blood from falling out. All this together means that often, instead of being tactical and able to help everyone easily within range, you end up trailing behind a player who is clearly too excited about being in a cool fight to stay near the only thing keeping them in that fight in the first place. This is such an issue that some support characters have gone to extreme lengths to be able to try and reach far-off teammates. Baptiste is not going to deal with your nonsense.
The enemy has captured our intelligence.
Any medic will certainly have heard of the Hippocratic Oath, the code of ethics for physicians which famously states, "First, do no harm." It may seem odd then that healer class characters in video games are usually equipped with firearms, or at least until you see them in action and realise they're about as likely to do harm as a glass of warm milk before bedtime. Actually make that less likely, we just remembered about lactose intolerance. Healers get rubbish guns is what we're saying, and it's a rule that applies across video games, but makes less sense the more you think about it. After all, if a medic is committed to using any kind of offensive weapon, there's no reason it needs to feel like a pea shooter. Come on game, can the healer not get a minigun? We can handle it, we've got strong upper arms from carrying the whole team every match. Seemingly, the answer is no, as you can always count on a healer's armoury to be somewhat underwhelming. Healers may miss out on the most fun weaponry, but their gear is occasionally hilarious. We can't help but approve of Team Fortress 2 medic melee weapon the Solemn Vow, a bust of Hippocrates you can use to bust open enemy heads. Honestly, medic, such a hypocrite.
While some players seem oblivious to the fact that they need the help of a healer, others are all too aware when they need your abilities.
I need healing. Heal me. I need healing.
Oh my god, I'm coming, I heard you the first 50 million times. Yes, all healers have dealt with the pain of some player spamming the medic button over and over again because you didn't immediately drop what you were doing the first time. Perhaps because, I don't know, you were busy healing someone else, trying not to die yourself, or they're one of the previously mentioned players who runs off to where you can't reach them. Some only do it when they need help, but others request over and over as a signal to only tail them, like you're a mutt in the obedience round of a dog show. Except, instead of being rewarded with treats, you're rewarded with the rest of the team also spamming the medic button as you're nowhere to be seen. On special occasions, players like to run right up to you and spam healing requests with the enthusiasm of a kid asking to go to Disneyland. And yes, it's just as, if not more, annoying. At least with the kid you get to go to Disneyland. This is also irritating, largely because healers usually have all the information they need on screen. Those with low health will be marked as such, and so support characters will know who best to, well, support. In fact, sometimes teammates will not realise when you're doing your job well until you die and they lose your support. Then they spam the medic button as you desperately try to run back into the battle.
Regen burst activated. You are fully healed.
Please, I'm trying. If I'm not as trying as you are. I can't believe it. You just have to come back all this way if you just wait and let me down. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
Are you still alive?
From the water. I'm still alive. Oh, spoke too soon. I got tanked. I think N7's going to revive me. Yes. My man. Oh, and they killed me again.
Get the guy on the horse. I don't know why. He's a bigger target though, I guess. Oh, no.
Yeah. I love you, medics, but it was all for nothing.
If MASH reruns are anything to go by, the ideal place for a medical professional in a war zone is several miles behind the front line, in a warm tent, ideally with a martini. Not, well, whatever mess you call this. Nevertheless, when it comes to video games, all healers must put their own hides in the line of fire, or at least within healing range of the line of fire, or if you're very lucky, around the corner from the line of fire. Hanging back will only get you so far, however, and sometimes you're going to have to make a dash into the fray in order to save a life and get that crucial revive, which is fine because it's an integral part of playing a healer, that and pinching the bridge of your nose and loudly sighing. But if it's your job to offer your teammates a second chance, it's their job not to waste that chance, which is what makes it especially aggravating when the player whose life you just saved, rather than retreating or changing tactics in any way, immediately dies again. Few things are as exasperating as seeing your recently revived teammate sprinting headfirst into the same meat grinder situation that wiped them out mere moments ago. But hey, we're just the healer, maybe doing the actual fighting bit of the game is much harder than it looks. What the hell? Okay, that's it, you're all benched.
Choosing a support class means that you understand the need to support your teammates, and that it's always a good idea to look out for everyone around you in order for your team to succeed. Sadly, not all players have got this memo. As the healer, you have a larger target painted on your back. See, it's a waste of time and bullets to try and kill someone who is constantly being healed back up again. So, if your opposition eliminates you first, everyone else is easier to deal with. From this comes the age-old gaming adage, kill the healer. But while you're busy healing everyone else, you're less able to defend yourself. So one would hope that, in response, your teammates adhere to the other age-old gaming adage of protect the healer. But too often it seems like the message they got was ignore the healer, except when you need them.
Heal us.
Previously mentioned bad habits like charging off or requesting you as their personal portable clinician leave you unprotected by the group and extremely vulnerable to attack.
The sea will claim your bones!
Then there are the players who only focus on getting kills and not who they're killing. So instead of dealing with the players who are ruining your day, they just go for whoever they see first, leaving you to be easily finished off. Look, maybe focus on the ones peppering your medic with bullets, and then you won't all get killed as your medic is running back from the spawn point for the 100th time. What did I say?
As we've doubtless established by now, playing as the healer in a cooperative online game is a thankless task, but at least you never get lifted in the air by a baby dinosaur and hurled painfully to the ground. Okay, that's a pretty specific example, but it goes to show the kind of pain that awaits healing class characters in MMOs who, for whatever reason, have to play solo for a while. Perhaps you can afford to buy back all those talent points and respec as a damage dealer for the time being. Or perhaps it's time to get your butt kicked, as having built your whole character around keeping a bunch of ingrates alive, you're suddenly forced to fend for yourself, and find out exactly how useful things like cloth armor and restorative magic are when something scaly's trying to bite you in half. Of course, a solo healer isn't completely helpless. For one thing, you've got a huge amount of healing power to keep your own health bar fresh, but sometimes all that means is that your eventual death proves an extremely slow one. Even if you're dealing enough damage to get by, battles will still take an age, your spells chipping slowly away at an enemy health bar, giving you plenty of time to think about how, if you were playing as one of those super high damage output classes, you'd be home by now. The only thing more embarrassing is other players taking pity on you and lending a hand, at which point, surprise surprise, that enemy health bar starts to whittle away at an alarming speed.
Well done. Her passing will allow future generations to thrive.
Yeah, I loosened it.
So those are some of the things bound to happen when you play a healer. This video is a shout out to all the healers out there who constantly save our butts in games. Thank you very much, really appreciate it. But are there any other things that just really get on your nerves that happen over and over again? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Maybe subscribe if you haven't already, because we do loads more videos on this channel about wonderful video gaming things. But thanks for watching, and we shall see you next time. Bye!